This is Wheels of Fire by Cream. Let's talk records. It is July 1967 at IBC Studios in London. Cream begins recording their next release that will solidify their status as one of the greatest rock and roll bands of all time. By this time, the supergroup that was Cream, Eric Clapton, Jack Bruce, and Ginger Baker, have reached what could be their creative peak, but also on the verge of crumbling apart. The tensions between Bruce and Baker spilling over, with fistfights breaking out during sessions. Clapton, already known as one of the greatest guitarists of all time, stuck between the two, is already growing weary of all the chaos. Despite the friction, their producer Felix Pappalardi pushes them into new musical territory. This planned double album will be a fusion of studio experimentation and raw live power like only Cream could deliver. Half recorded in the studio, half live from their explosive San Francisco performances. It was recorded at Fillmore Auditorium and Winterland Ballroom from March 7th through the 10th of 1968. Wheels of Fire by Cream was released July 1968 on Polydor Records. This would be the album that would elevate their status as one of the top bands around, but the group was falling apart. White Room was released September 1969 in the US and January 1969 in the UK. Arguably the album's standout track, the song Almost Didn't Happen. Originally written by Jack Bruce years earlier, it was reworked into a psychedelic masterpiece. The song became one of Cream's biggest hits, reaching number 6 in the US. The real showstopper, however, was Crossroads, released January 1969. It was recorded live at the Winterland Ballroom on the 10th of March. Clapton's scorching solo turned the old Robert Johnson's blues tune into one of the greatest live recordings of all time. It was originally recorded by Johnson as Crossroad Blues in the 1930s. The legend goes that it was at the Crossroads that Johnson sold his soul to the devil for extraordinary ability to play the blues. Then there's Spoonful, stretched into a 60-minute blues odyssey. They were certainly one of the most powerful live acts ever. Baker and Bruce's fights had become unbearable, and by the end of the year, Cream announced their farewell tour. They were gone by November 1968, but their influence never faded. Wheels of Fire remains a landmark album, a fusion of psych rock, blues, and virtuoso playing that changed music forever. Cream's Wheels of Fire was their biggest album, hitting number 1 in the US and number 3 in the UK. This was one of the most legendary supergroups ever, Cream, at the very top of their peak and at their breaking point at the same time. It holds the distinction of being the first double album in history to go platinum, a testament to Cream's power even in their final days. It has been called Cream's finest hour and one of the best albums of all time. It was ranked number 203 on the 500 greatest albums of all time list by Rolling Stone magazine in 2003 and 215 on the 2012 Revisited list.
In a white room with black curtains near the station.